Hello, I'm Ronnie Ani Edwards, and this is Digressing and Sidequesting, where we talk about whatever I want, but mostly game design. Today we're going to be talking about idea versus execution in gaming, and for examples we're going to use Kid Icarus and Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. Both of these are NES titles released less than a month apart that took different approaches to a lot of the same ideas. For better or for worse. So, idea versus execution. I'm sure most of you out there know exactly what I mean by those words. For those of you who are slow, Derpina, allow me to explain. Say you're playing Super Street Fighter 2 and you decide now would be a perfect time to do a Shoryuken and drop this bitch! So you try and... what? Damn it! You knew exactly what you had to do, you just fucked up and couldn't quite do it. Derpina! That is the concept of idea versus execution. Now that we have that out of the way, let's jump right in. Kid Icarus is an action platformer with RPG elements, while Zelda 2 is an action RPG with some platforming elements. These semantic differences are mostly due to the way they executed their ideas. See what I did there? Now, for the sake of time, and because I don't feel like editing an incredibly long video, we're only going to look at two ideas. Experience points and combat. Manly. Idea 1, experience points. Both games have experience points. So as the game's difficulty ramps up, you have some way of keeping up with the curve more than just gaining a better understanding of the mechanics or faster reflexes as a player. Your character stats improve the longer you play. Zelda 2's experience system is fairly simple and straightforward. You kill enemies, a number pops up and adds to your experience meter. Once the meter fills up, you get to select which stat you wish to level up. It's very simple and you can get a full understanding of this system less than 10 minutes into the game. All stats are leveled up in exactly the same manner. It's pretty good execution. Kid Icarus, on the other hand, deals with experience in such a cryptic way that it was only fully understood many years after the game's release due to a couple fellows named Dishwasher and Daniel Remar who took apart the code of the game and examined it. When you kill enemies, you have a score that goes up, much like Mario. Once you beat a level, your life will go up if your score is high enough. So that's how you increase your life stat. Now, the way Kid Icarus handles its strength stat is where things go awry. In Zelda 2, all stats are leveled up through exactly the same process. This is not the case in Kid Icarus. Scattered throughout levels in Kid Icarus are doors that house challenges, shops, and Groucho Marx masks. Certain doors house the Greek god Zeus, who gives you a strength upgrade. Sometimes. On some playthroughs, you go through a door and get a strength upgrade. And on other playthroughs, you're just shit out of luck. This is where Daniel Remar and Dishwasher really help us out. In the game's code, they discover there's a hidden stat that is now dubbed skill. To simplify things for the sake of time, you gain skill from killing enemies, collecting items, and beating levels. You lose skill from missing shots, taking damage, and breaking jars. If you have enough accumulated skill before entering one of these doors, Zeus will award you with a power-up. If not, you're shit out of luck. It's a cool idea. The only problem is, the game gave you no way of knowing that this skill stat even existed. And it gives you no way to keep track of how much skill you have, like an experience bar or something. So there's no way of knowing for sure if you've earned that strength upgrade. And if you miss one strength upgrade, the difficulty of the rest of the game is seriously ramped up. So with a score counter which keeps track of your life, and the hidden skill counter which keeps track of your strength, you essentially have two experience bars. One that the player must pause the game in order to gauge, and the other one is just totally fucking hidden, like Carmen Sandiego or Waldo. This is an incredibly convoluted and needlessly complex design. Bad execution. Idea 2, combat. Manly. Both games feature somewhat similar combat elements. The elements take a few seconds to learn, but essentially a playthrough to master. In Kid Icarus, the combat system is fairly easy to get a handle on. Pit can fire left, right, and up. You can also jump and fire in these three directions too. It only takes a few minutes to get a handle on how everything works. Now, later on in the game, if you endure some harsh training, you can earn a bow that fires farther, flaming arrows that deal more damage, and a force field that kills enemies when they get too close. These are new elements about the combat system that are slowly introduced, is to not overwhelm the player and to give the player a sense of satisfaction. It's pretty good execution. In Zelda 2, you have a sword that shoots a ranged attack if you have full life, and a shield that will block some attacks. You can block high and low, and attack high and low. Simple enough. However, the combat system could have been executed much better. The game gives you little to no indication as to whether or not your shield can block this attack, or whether or not your beam will work against this enemy. And without the beam attack, you have almost no range, and it's really difficult trying to attack an enemy without getting hit yourself when you just have 2 pixels between you and this bad guy. It all sounds really good on paper. You can attack high and low, enemies can attack you, you can block. It's all great, but mostly due to the lack of indication and lack of range, it makes for a really frustrating play experience. It is a prime example of bad execution. Well, that's all I have for today, so just in case you're an Anasphalo Goomba and can't really remember what the fuck we just talked about 2 minutes ago, here's our quest log.